qualify for the special pension aid and attendance?
So I mentioned it's a wartime veteran. Wartime doesn't mean place of war. You didn't have to be in theater of combat. You could have been right here in Mississippi down at Camp Shelby
During
for instance,
wartime.
but you overlapped the Korean conflict by a day, you're a wartime veteran. So it's time of war, not place of war. You also have to have 90 consecutive days in the armed forces, so active duty of 90 days. That sometimes kicks people off. I've had on multiple occasions people come in and they were in the reserves, but they were activated, and they were activated during Vietnam conflict, but they were only activated for 45 days.
Okay.
In all three cases that's happened, they were activated for James Meredith. And so they served for 45 days up in Oxford. That unfortunately wasn't, that met their 1 day of wartime, didn't meet their 90 consecutive days. So it's 1 day of wartime, 90 consecutive days in the armed forces. You also have to be disabled, meaning you have to need assistance with, for the aid and attendant benefit, 2 or more activities of daily living.
Okay.
So things like dressing, things like toileting, things like bathing, things like feeding, things that you need, of everyday things that you and I take for granted, you need assistance with.
Qualified by a medical
It
provider?
is. Yeah, medical provider is going to say this person needs this assistance with these things. And it may be things that, it can't be left alone because they have Alzheimer's, they have dementia or something along those lines. And so they may need things, assistance with intermediate care needs as well. And that can also qualify, especially for a memory care individual. So that's the disability part of that. So you have the service requirement, the disability requirement. The third requirement is a financial requirement. So if you have too much money, you don't qualify. If your income is too high, you don't qualify. So this is a means-tested program. It's not just free money for our veterans, but for veterans that need it. They're wartime veterans that have the medical need for it, and their financial assets are such that they can't really adequately provide for themselves. It's a great, great benefit that for many of our clients makes the difference in them being able to stay at home and get the care that they need, or perhaps move to an assisted living facility where they are getting the care that they need rather than having to suffer at home alone or possibly prematurely going to a nursing home because that's the only place we could get money, we get Medicaid money to pay for that. And so it's a really great, great benefit, but there are financial limitations to it as well as the medical, as well as the service connection.